Good morning. Today we want to talk about onboard scales, or scales that mount to wheel loaders and excavators. This is going to be a two-part discussion. The first part of the discussion is going to be, what is a scale? How does it work on my equipment? And the second part of the discussion is going to be, how does the scale benefit public works? So what is a scale? A scale is a group of sensors that measure hydraulic pressure and put a reading into the display onto a display in the cab of a machine, letting the operator accumulate weight and control his weight. So how does this mount onto the equipment? If you'll start at page 2, you'll see what happens is we open up the hydraulics and put in our adapters. We then run the adapters over to some transducers, pressure transducers. Now, originally, just one pressure transducer was used by the industry, but that really limited weighing on the move. So now we install 2 pressure transducers. We measure the lift and the return pressure. Measuring the return pressure allows us to see bounce and holes in rocks, the loader moving around. So the next sensor on a loader is the trigger. Now, originally there was no trigger. They had 2 pointers out on the boom, and they would lift up, and when the pointers aligned, he would stop, and then he would take a reading. Of course, this was inaccurate, because if you move a little bit this way or that way, you're going to be hundreds of pounds off. So this wasn't a very effective way of getting good weights. So the industry thought, how do we automate our triggering process? And on page 4, you will see one of the first triggers, and that is a single point weighing trigger. What that means is it collects one pressure reading as the magnet goes by the trigger, and it then sends it to the display, and the display calculates it to be a weight. Single point weighing was better because now the weighing process was automated, but it was still not very good for weighing on the move. Weighing standing still was good, but not for weighing on the move. So the industry designed multiple point weighing, and multiple point weighing is when you gather 3 to 4 pressure readings and also 3 to 4 rate of lift readings. How quickly is the bucket going up, which is related to your throttle speed. So on the next page, you'll see an optical trigger that gathers 3 or 4 readings, averages them, eliminates any bad readings. If you have 3 good readings and 1 high reading, it'll not average the high reading because it knows it's not a good reading. So weighing on the move became much better when the industry went to multiple point weighing. What's even better than multiple point weighing is multiple point weighing combined with knowing where the bucket is at all times. So what position is the bucket in at all times? So multiple point weighing on the next page is a rotary trigger that senses the location of the boom at all times. This really improved weighing on the move. The software can now be written so that we see what's happening before we get to the trigger point. So we can see if there's any excessive bouncing going on. We can see if the operator is reducing or drastically increasing his throttle speed as he's coming to the trigger point. Now we can give error message to the operator saying, this is a bouncing load, please relift. This is lift speeds changing, please relift. The other nice feature of this type of sensor is that you use what is called active tip-off. Tip-off is the last bucket. So right now what they do with the last bucket, let's say they want 18 tons on the truck. Loader operator has already put 15 tons on. He's at the pile, he digs in, he lifts his bucket up, and it says 22 tons if you add this. So he shakes them off, he lowers back down, and he lifts up again. And it says 19.5 tons. So he shakes them off, lowers back down, lifts up again. With the rotary trigger, you just lift up the first time. It says 19 and 3/4 tons. If you add this, you shake it out until you see 18 tons, you put it in the truck. So active live tip-off is a great improvement with the rotary style trigger. So the next page shows our console. This is the display and computer that does all the analyzing of the data. It's very easy to use. In the basic operation, there are only 3 buttons the operator needs to worry about. 0, like you do with any other scale, you 0 out the scale. Add, and we can auto add. You add each bucket, totalizing. When you're done, you hit clear, it resets it to 0. It's very easy to use. Now this is where he would also input products if we have material management, and we'll talk about that later in one of my case studies. So now, how does a wheel loader scale benefit Public Works? Well, it provides you with a tool to measure and report on the exact amount of product being loaded. It allows you to report on inventory control. You can report on product usage by job, project, contract, contractor. You can do compliance reporting, loader productivity, haul truck productivity. Here's my first case study is the city of Northport. They had a simple problem. The drivers were loading themselves and they had overload tickets. So, and the drivers were accountable for the overload tickets, and that didn't go over very well. So they got on the internet and they searched for a tool to help them eliminate overloads. And they installed a weighing system. And yes, the weighing system did eliminate the overloads. So then a material management software was installed, and the council then had products programmed into it: swale, asphalt, road base, 57 stone, clean fill. And now the operator gets into the loader, hits products, scrolls up and down to the product that he wants, enters that product, he now loads that product. He hits clear. All of that is captured inside the system and can be downloaded to an office PC using a memory stick, a Wi-Fi modem, or a radio modem. So other benefits of knowing the exact amount of material on each truck is that you stop giving your product away. You eliminate overusage. You increase the safety by eliminating overloaded trucks on the roads. You do better material management on the job site and at the depot. You have better fuel savings. You have fuel savings through better equipment utilization because you're optimizing each truckload. My next case study is talking about optimizing each truckload. This contractor was hired to move 550 yards of material for a bridge project. Now, they estimated at 10 cubic yards per truck, they were going to need 55,000 truck trips, each trip taking 45 minutes. So they started their project, the DOT set up, and they got some overload tickets. So they went to the loader operators and said, no more overloading of the haul trucks. And that was it. They eliminated the overload tickets. What they found out a couple days later is they believed they were now drastically underloading trucks. So they spot weighed a couple trucks, and sure enough, they were 1 to 2 tons underweight. So they calculated if they're doing 55,000 trips and each truck is underloaded by 1 ton, that's an extra 55,000 tons that has to be moved. So what is the cost of moving that? They figured out it would take 3,600 some truckloads, and figured that equals 2,750 trucking hours, and calculated that potentially they can have an additional $150,000 cost of if they underload each truck. Also, they calculated their extra fuel costs, and that came out to be an extra $55,000. So you can see on this example how haul truck or truck efficiency, maximizing each load, was important, and the purchase of excavator scales to ensure the trucks loaded correctly got the job done and didn't go into over budget. So now once you're tracking all this information, you can put out any type of report you want. You can do stockpile productivity. You can do truck efficiency, which trucks are hauling the most. You can do loader by day, how much are your loaders moving out. The reporting is endless. My next case study is going to be stockpile management, and this is an example of Charlotte County. They had a typical problem at Public Works, and that is they purchased 200 tons of aggregate, and they used the aggregate for projects and road maintenance. Well, somewhere along the line, someone comes out of the office and says, hey, we should still have 25 tons of aggregate. Where did it all go? Where is it? First, they thought it was moisture content. They were buying wet aggregate, and it was drying out, and that's where they were losing 25 tons. They didn't believe that to be so after doing some moisture tests, so they went on and looked for a tool to help them, and they decided they would like to try a scale. So scale was installed as a trial for them for 3 months, and what you see on the next page is the tablet from the manager's desk. He actually calculated that when they thought they were putting out 850 tons, it was actually 1,006 tons. So over a month, they saved themselves $2,300 of material that was not given away, waste. So the key benefits in this, and I think this is key to Public Works, is your tracking of your stockpile saves money, because now you know what's in your stockpile, you know where you're using it, you can document where it's being used by contractor job ID, truck number, and at the end of the year or the end of the quarter, it's a lot easier to do your end of the month inventory of how much is in your stockpile. Additional benefits for a scale is you get greater accuracy on the amount of product that is being loaded out. You get better machine utilization. Your trucks are maximized, and so you get fuel savings. And you're monitoring product usage to eliminate waste. So thank you very much. My name is Jim Gondor. I'm with K&R Group. We've been installing scales onto hydraulic lift equipment since 1993. We're available for consultation and trials. So are there any questions now?